Bonjour, Kinamaga, Inene, Ireland, Indigenous, and welcome to our overview of our Week 8 learning plan. We'll begin this week's episode back in our Google Stream, just to highlight what our students are seeing. This is kind of a news spot for them. We have my contact information, mireland@sagchipschool.net. Students can email me by clicking on that, and if they have questions, they're encouraged to do so. Just don't spam me. You can also reach me at mireland@sagchip.org. There is also a Google Voice number there, and that's for students or parents. I do ask that if you're going to send me a message, please let me know who you are. If I don't recognize the name, I obviously cannot respond about any students. If it's any kind of confidential information, please do not send it via text. We do have information on our Friday, which is tomorrow, so October the 7th. That's why you're getting this email today and not on a Friday. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Our newsletter, which we'll be reviewing in this episode. And then if you scroll down, you can see the October breakfast and lunch menu, school calendar, class remind, a link to my teacher page that we sometimes visit on here, but we will not be in this episode, and a link to our schools and education department website. So looking at some of the key details today, we have a Friday coming up this week. Tomorrow, I should say, October 7th, we will be going to Bundy Hill. Bundy Hill is located west of Mount Pleasant and north of M20. We'll be leaving here after lunch, and we will be eating, and we will be back with plenty of time for students to get back on the bus to go home. The weather forecast as of the time of this note was cloudy and around 48 degrees. For that reason, students should wear warm clothes, layers. So if they have a t-shirt, then a sweatshirt, then a jacket, where they could always take off the jacket if they get warm. It will be chilly. The chance of rain is only a couple percent, so we should be good there. You must have a coat, sweatshirt, or sweater. I know it doesn't say sweatshirt, but that's completely fine. You should wear pants because nature does sometimes give us things that will make us itchy. Yeah, I'm looking at you, poison ivy. And closed-toe shoes. And we are on trails, and wearing slides would be kind of on the dangerous side. Optional things, if you want to wear a hat, whether it be a baseball cap or a winter cap, gloves, and you can also lay up your clothes as necessary. Looking at our newsletter for this week, a note again about the homework. In this newsletter, we'll be going home with your student today, and we'll also be included in the email in which this link was sent to you. Some of our students are getting very good and developing their personal responsibility to be able to say, you know what, I need to get this done, which is really the goal of this, so that when they get to middle school, they're not going, whoa, I got to adjust to homework. Right now, we're sending this home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In the fourth quarter, we'll probably go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so they have got to get used to remembering to bring stuff back over the weekend. This is only for the special assignments. Any classwork that students fail to complete during the day, they will need to take that home and finish it. Some students are pretty good at that, and some students have a little work to go on that area. We just talked about Friday. Let's look at Indigenous Peoples Day. That'll be October 10th. We will be doing a little dance social during school on Monday, October 10th at the tribal gym. So that'll be part of our school day. No clue why I decided to yell the word on in that post. Oops. But we're not going to waste the paper to fix it. Weather changes. We have reached another time of the year where Michigan weather is going to do Michigan things. That means it might be 37 degrees with ice on your windows in the morning, and 70 degrees and kids wanting to wear shorts in the afternoon. Particularly on these cloudy and cool mornings, this would be clear and cool too. Make sure you're dressed with students for the conditions of the day. That may be in layers, like a sweatshirt in the morning where they can take off pretty easily. We do go outside for our breaks and for our recesses unless it's raining. So if they're coming in shorts and it's 36 degrees out, they're gonna be pretty chilly. We want to avoid that. Note about these weekly emails. What are we learning? Well, we're right now working in math on division. That means that right now we're working at 1-digit divisors. It is a challenging thing for our students. We're going to keep going on this. And in the next week or so, we'll be taking a quiz on that one and moving to 2-digit divisors. I also encourage students to review your place value and multiplication using resources such as Khan Academy, Prodigy, or ST Math. It would be very helpful for our students to come into possession of some flashcards, like particularly multiplication, but division ones would be good too. For other students choose to make them or to purchase them, the dollar store is a good spot for those. Our math packs are going to help them with that quick processing for these problems, particularly in division. If they gotta take the time to do the multiplication, it does slow them up, and sometimes students will forget where they're at on the process. Language arts, we're working through a section on the elements of stories. Words Their Way is being used to work on spelling skills, and we're using writing A to Z for writing skills, working right now on realistic fiction. We have kind of introduced handwriting into our web time as well. Social studies, we're looking at our cultural regions, and this will go into later this week and possibly into a week of the first quarter. Yeah, quarter's almost over. Science, we're barreling through our study of ecosystems and food chains and food webs and how energy goes from the sun to producers like plants and then into that delicious steak on our plate. Language Corner, this is linked to the Ojibwe People's Dictionary put on by the University of Minnesota. You can see that we have Madasaweshu Niswe, 13, Madasaweshu Niwin, 14, Migizi, Eagle, Nishike for snapping turtle, and Mukwa for bear. It is important to note that not all spellings will be the same from Minnesota over to here. For consistency, we're using the Minnesota version, but you may spell Mukwa different, and that's okay. Looking at our learning plan for next week, see we have a full week scheduled. It's something new. Reading, you see we have a variety of little stories there and studying narrative point of view. A lot of this kind of was covered in the newsletter. You can see now also the Wondrous Educational block. I'm going to start publishing in here suggested ordering of events, because students are now getting checklists, and I'll show that to you in just a moment, that they have all week to complete it. So they may say, you know what, I'm going to do Prodigy ELA on Tuesday and Prodigy Math on Monday, and that'll be completely okay. The goal will be to complete it by the end of the week. And these are mostly just online pieces. Some of them are supplements to what we're doing in science or social studies. Some of them are traditional practice. Some are spelling that they have to do anyway. But this will kind of give them an opportunity for, if you're in an SEL group and you have 15 minutes on Tuesday before you're pulled to go with those instructors. You're not saying there's no way I could do this and now I'm behind. It'll give the student an opportunity to kind of space it out just a little bit. And I'll show you an example of that here in a moment for the one for next week. And then you can see what we're doing in small groups. Let's look at that web organizer. This is the one for next week. We did have one this week with NWEA testing. Most students didn't get very far, but we'll make that okay. And so you can see some of the resources, and we'll be talking about some of these resources over the course of the next few weeks. We've reached the part of the year where it's good for parents and guardians to know, so what's this Duolingo you speak of, or what's Prodigy? And that also can allow you to decide whether students should be able to do this at home. A lot of our resources can be done at home during the, using this checklist, except for maybe handwriting. That one, they have a physical book. But a lot of the stuff will be completely computer-based. And is it wrong if the student says, I want to do Khan Academy every day, and they go home and say, can I do Khan Academy? No, not at all. Good thing. Or ST Math. It's probably more likely to be ST Math. Let's be honest with this. But these are all things that are school appropriate and from our classroom, instead of saying, well, jump on this website and you as a parent saying, I have no idea what this is. I will be publishing this in our stream page as well, so that you can look back with your student on their Chromebook and say, oh, this is an acceptable assignment. And keep in mind, when I say Chromebook, I really should just say going through Google Chrome, you can get to our Google Classroom, and that's where it'll be published. So to wrap up today's episode, remember field trip tomorrow on Friday, October 7th. Dress for the conditions. You'll have all of these as attachments in the email that sends this to you in a little while. I hope everyone has a great weekend. It's going to be chilly. Good weekend and relax and the warmth and read a good book. I hope everyone has a Minibuja God. Meanwhile, I'm with you.